Doing well. Welcome to the day. So much going on in the world. So much going on. One of the most important aspects of where we are right now is that we have the opportunity to increase the power and the strength of our mind. This is a unique time for us. It's reminiscent of the time of the Hebrews in Egypt. It's an incredible parallel between what went on then when God ordered the Jewish people to go into their homes and what's going on right now. And one of the reasons for that, as far as I've learned, is that God was teaching the Jewish people the process of freedom. One of the great misconceptions of freedom is that freedom that means control. Freedom doesn't mean the ability to be more comfortable. Most people that live their lives needing to be comfortable are anything but free. Freedom is the ability to be in control of one's needs. If you can easily choose to or not to reach for dessert when you're already full from the meal, then you're in control. If you have to have it, even though you know you shouldn't have it, then you're not in control. You're not free from the desire of that food. If you can say things to people, even though you don't feel it, because you know it's right, without having it be like the hardest thing in the world, then you're in control. You're free. There are lots of people that live lives that that are not saying things to their loved ones that they want to say because it's like weird or like they're uncomfortable. They're not free. That's not freedom. Freedom is walking into a room and telling the people in your life how much you love them, or that whatever the things you want to say, right? You see this in business all the time. People aren't free to have conversations. I mean, there's a company that we're connected to now where the entire company is dysfunctional, mostly because people can't say what they want to say. Everyone's like, gets on the phone and they're like, everyone's nice and friendly, and then behind everyone's back, it's like a disaster because they're just not free. They're not in control. They're not confident. So freedom really is not being more comfortable. It's being more in control, and sometimes being more uncomfortable, but being okay with that. Who's more free? The Navy SEAL or the couch potato? So where do you get it from? So one of the most important aspects of this period of time, the time of Passover, Exodus, of freedom, is this idea that God sent the Jews home. Now, just to understand how contradictory that is, if the whole purpose is to free them, and before you showed up, God, they were able to move around Egypt, but they couldn't leave Egypt. Now when you show up, you order them on the last night to be locked in their homes. You've only increased their incarceration. You've decreased their freedom. So why did he do it for? And the answer that some of the commentators give is that because he was teaching them where freedom lied. Freedom is not in your physical body, it's in your mind. When you're locked in the room, now you don't settle for the fake freedom. You think you're free when you get on an airplane? That's not freedom. That may be mobility. There are people sitting in an apartment right now alone, and they're totally free. They're totally in control of their emotions. They're totally happy. Then there are people that are sitting in beautiful mansions with their families right now. Life couldn't be more perfect. And they're complete slaves. Their emotions are wavering moment to moment. You're not free by your physical mobility. You're not free by what the material world gives you. That's not what sets you free. What sets you free is your mind, the strength of your mind. Your ability to walk into an environment or a context and be mentally present properly. Happiness during challenge is freedom. Strength and confidence during moments of where everybody else is not is freedom. Love is freedom when it's done properly, when it's not soiled with lust and selfishness. And that begins when you stop allowing the physical world to give you that little bit of the counterfeit pleasure of freedom when it's not really true. You can be anywhere and be totally free. And so what's fascinating is as we get closer and closer into Passover, and the light of Passover is already shining to some extent in our lives and in the world, we need to understand that what Passover is trying to teach us is this idea is that being locked in one's home actually can set you free, because it doesn't allow you to get any of that initial pleasure of lower level freedom. This is what's going on right now, by the way. People are losing it. I'm not talking about health. God should bless everyone who's sick, and they should be healthy, and everyone who's healthy should stay healthy. I'm talking people that are fully healthy. All they're doing is just sitting in a place. Their trips have been canceled. They can't get around. They can't do their thing. They can't watch what they want to watch, and they're losing it because they've spent their whole lives working on their bodies and not enough time working on their minds. And so as a result, now that their bodies are constrained into a location, they have no muscles that will help them understand how to be free, how to be strong mentally. This, by the way, is one of the most powerful concepts in performance. I remember reading about Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He passed away this year in a tragic helicopter crash. And I remember reading a piece about him, how he spoke about when he was on a basketball court, his mind was as calm as a lake. You know, like if you ever you ever been to, like, I don't know if you may have one in your backyard or not, but like you've ever been to like mountains or someplace really away from the hustle and bustle of life, and you pass by a lake, like you throw in a rock and like you can see the ripples. The lake is calm. It's peaceful. Even the smallest little addition ruins the peace. Kobe Bryant would say that his mind was like that when he stepped on a court. You'd think a basketball court is filled with so much activity, but his mind was calm. That's how he was able to perform at the level that he did. His body was moving quickly, but his mind was calm. You can almost, if you're paying attention, you can feel the contrast. If you stop for a minute now in the morning as we're doing this together, and you think about a time where your body was calm and your mind was racing, maybe when you got into bed one night and your brain was still 100 miles an hour, but your body is calm, and you don't feel restful. You feel like there's a million things going on. You almost can like barely breathe. This happens when you're on an airplane, at least for me. And like you're on the tarmac, and like it's 5 minutes, and then it's 10 minutes, and then it's 20 minutes, and you have no idea what's going on, and the pilot doesn't come on yet, and your brain's like, when are we going, when are we going, when are we going? You're sitting in a chair, you're strapped into a chair, you can't even stand. And you could be at a place just calm, reading. You're online if you're on the ground, you're not even up in the air yet, but you're not. Your brain starts going nuts. Now imagine that in the opposite. Imagine your body moving and your brain is totally calm. Your mind is calm. That's called mental strength. Many, many great rabbis have spent a life, believe it or not, working on this idea. Being mentally calm so that they can perform, they can give advice, they can connect to God, even in moments of turmoil. There are writings of people, even in the Holocaust, where they worked on their mental strength. And the reason why that's so critical is because for us to relate to our Creator, we have to go deeper inside us. Remember, your energy is a piece of the divine, which means that in order to relate to God, you don't have to look out, you have to look in. And by looking inward, you find a piece of Him, which is the core of your relationship. That, by the way, is very much how we relate to the people in our families. Your wife or your husband, depending on who's watching, you don't relate to him or her outward. You relate to him and her inward, because as the Talmud teaches us, actually it's Talmud and mysticism together, that when a soul is created, it gets split in heaven and then placed in this world in two separate bodies. The goal of marriage is really the unification of the same original soul. You and your wife, you and your husband are one soul trying to sew each other back up. You don't relate to your spouse outwardly. You do it inwardly. And so you can't really relate to your spouse if you're never calm, if you're never mentally there. It doesn't work. If you're always going, if it's always this, if your whole life is just like carpooling kids and going and doing, you're not really connecting at a deeper level. If you want to connect to your spouse at a deeper level, usually it comes with a healthy diet of alone time where everything is calm. The two of you can just talk about nothing. Then what's happening is the calmness of your mind is giving expression to your soul, and you're having a deeper connection. Same thing with your children, same thing with your parent, same thing with religion and God. You're not relating to God if it's always like, I gotta do, I don't, I can't do this, I can't do this. You relate to Him when you sit at anything that He asks you to do, to study a piece of Torah, to do a mitzvah, to say a prayer, and you do it with calmness. You try to connect to it. Then what's happening is you're opening up your soul to connect to the larger divine soul. And so this is sort of the goal. This is the opportunity that we have right now, is this real ability to work on our minds, because our bodies are confined. It would be such a shame if a person was granted health during this period of time and all that person did was keep his body at bay, so that when this thing's over, with God's help, hopefully soon, he's the same exact person that he was before he walked in. What should happen is a person should say, oh my gosh, my body is being constrained. This is the time to work on my mind and my soul, and to really do it. Then when you come out, you're in the position of where the Jews were in. The Jews were in a position when they left where they had worked on their minds to an extent where when they left the next morning and they were physically free, now their bodies tracked their minds and not the other way around. Their bodies followed the path of their minds, not the reverse. Where most people live is in the reverse. When I am in a place of comfort, I feel good. When I'm in the middle of a good meal, I feel good. When I'm in a place of discomfort, I feel bad. My body has to go somewhere and feel something sensory before it can go up to my mind. In greatness, it's the opposite. My mind has to go somewhere, and then my body ultimately follows. So that's what we're doing, and what the goal for today and every day is to really work out our minds. We begin by replaced confidence, by recognizing that what's in front of me is greater than what I had maybe anticipated, but that means that it is I am more than I think. And just the humility to allow somebody else's confidence in me to overwhelm my confidence in myself is an opening to more. Just the moment where the player looks at his coaches and says, okay, although I was, the Heisman Trophy winner, and I was the greatest player in my college team, and I spent 4 years being a little mini god in my campus, you, professional coach, are telling me to do it differently. I am going to subjugate my own mind to yours. You believe in me more than I believe in myself. So therefore, if you think I'm doing it wrong, if you give me another exercise to do, if you give me more reps or give me a different chain, if I'm a running back and you make me a wide receiver, I'm going to trust you. That way of thinking is critical, or else you always remain a college player. And when you wake up in the morning, you are entering into the pros, and the coach is the creator. And what he is giving you to do may be more than you think you can handle, and you will fight back until you realize that you don't know what you can handle. Replace confidence. We move from there into the idea of disassociating self with actions and creating a chasm between who I am and what I do in order to create a space that I can overwhelm what I do and increase who I am, which will then only increase what I do. For those that are hearing this for the first time, you can refer back to the earlier daily boosts for that detail. And where we are right now on this path that we're charting together is the idea of gratitude. That when you create a life for yourself, it has to come from an emotion. And that emotion will either be one of lack or one of overwhelming bounty. Right? You come at life from either having or not having. The society that we live in paints this incredibly dramatic picture of those that don't have. We love underdogs. We love stories of people that have very little and then get a lot. So as a result, the whole drama of I don't have enough really fits well into our world. And not only that, but we're very competitive because we live in a material world. And as little kids, we were put in these little pens called classrooms, and we're sort of trained to compete against each other for grades and for places on football teams and basketball teams and for nicer clothes and dress sizes and who's winning, and everything we're doing as kids is just competing. Color war, everything's going on, just one huge competition, because competition is a very low level way of stimulating behavior. So it's easier to do that with a kid than to actually teach them how to live in the place of abundance. So you're an adult, you keep on competing. You drive into a neighborhood and you look around the homes and you go, wow, I wish I had that. You go into work and you see people with nicer titles and go, wow, I wish I was sitting in that office. Right? You're just competing. That's lacking. If you get into the world of lacking and thinking that something's going to fill your day, you end up with nothing. But if you get into the world of abundance, that you have more than you ever can need in life, you already have inside you the potential of what you need. You already have more things that works by you opening up your eyes and whatever you're going to get that day. Whatever you want in front of you is less impressive than what already happens if you opened up your eyes today and your body functions. Period. End of story. And you can go into a hospital today and pull out half that group and go, hey, can you give me your possessions for nursing, getting nursed back to health? They'll be like, in a minute. So whatever we have right now, if our eyes are open, is more than we're looking for the day. So we're already killing it. God has already given us more than what we're looking for. It's an abundance. Okay, abundance brings happiness. Happiness brings the desire for more. What's coming from abundance? And the way you get there is by being grateful. And that's why we begin our day with gratitude. And if you're not doing it already, please start. If you're not doing it through an actual prayer, which is laid out in front of us, fine. Start by taking a moment now and thinking of 5 things that you have in your life: your health, your eyes, your your lungs, the home that has a roof on top. Just take 5 things you have in your life, envision your life without it, come back to it after 10 seconds and thank God for it. You're going to start to build up this thing called gratitude. You're going to start to overwhelm your mind with positive thoughts. And then as a result, you're going to start to strengthen the way your mind works. We'll try to hit it again tomorrow. But until then, have an awesome day. Make it strong, make it great. Never settle for anything under awesome. And remember, the goal of life is to become the people that we deep down are already. And we just need to bring it out into our lives. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.